All right, how you doing, everyone? Welcome to the How to Make a Banger podcast. So we're gonna hop on here with Mimo in a little bit and really discuss the metaphysics of his creativity, how he gets into his zone, how he's been able to achieve what he's done so far, and let's load it up. Let's get
Bro.
Yo.
What's going on, man?
Oh shoot.
All right, I can hear you. Dude, we got 139 people. Oh my god.
What was that?
140 people in here.
Oh damn! Welcome everyone. Welcome to the How to Make a Banger podcast.
Thank you, bro.
Featuring Mimo. Thank you so much for being on here, man.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, dude. Really.
Yeah, no problem, man. So, my thing. This is How to Make a Banger. Metaphysics of creativity. How do you? Everyone new here. This is how do you get out of your head? How to get into the zone. That's all what my content and my mission is, to help people get out of their head and into the zone. And what this podcast showcases is artists and producers and creatives who've been able to apply that in their life and really show it in the work that they're doing. And Mimo's a great example of that, really making bangers, really making tracks that are unique in an environment where a lot of stuff sounds the same. So I really give you props, man, for what you've been able to do and develop and just create, man. It's been amazing. I found your stuff on TikTok probably like last year. Yeah. And I love how it's connected with the wizard imagery. I love wizards, Lord of the Rings, my favorite movie. I watch that like 10 times a year,
Come on, so,
man, I really connect with all that. And how you've got the photos going and the stories going with your music is really genius and really, really dope. So, man, just wanted to
thank you.
Start off and just ask, where are you from, and when did you start making beats?
Of course. Well, first off, thank you very much for having me and all the kind words. I really appreciate that. And thank you to the 100 people in here. Like, I've never done TikTok live, so this is kind of crazy. So thank you, everybody. But I'm from Boston. That's where I'm based. Born and raised there. And I started making music at a very young age, about like 7 years old. My parents had me doing like piano lessons and stuff, because my dad's side of the family is very into music. It's my grandmother wanted me to like do piano and stuff. So I ended up doing piano lessons for about 7 years, but I never really liked it because of the structure of it, the reading music and having to learn songs that I wasn't really interested in. So I would learn these songs by ear, and then my teacher would get frustrated because I'd be looking at the keys and not reading it. So I've always had like an inclination towards music and an ear for it, but I never liked the structure of it. So I went from there to playing guitar and then like doing a lot of metal music. Like, that's my main thing. I got an Aussie shirt on right now. I love metal and all that. And during quarantine, I was really big into production when it comes to like metal songs. Like, I'd make a lot of demos with guitar. But I had a friend from school who was into making beats, and at the time I didn't listen to rap or make any beats or anything, but he sent me over a Logic project file, because we both use Logic Pro. And so I just kind of analyzed how he made that beat. His name is Aiden. Shout out to Aiden. And from analyzing that file, I pretty much figured out how to make beats in Logic, and it was weird. Like, I started making beats without really listening to rap at all. Like, I was a metalhead. I was making beats though, because I really enjoyed it. And over time I just got more into it, and it was really when I started putting myself out on social media, like Instagram, that I'd see, be involved in the scene and see all the underground dudes coming out. So I was never really into, like, any of the older rappers, like Tupac, Biggie. Like, I'm super new to this kind of music. So that's kind of a general, like, in a nutshell of my history with music and where I'm from. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't know that. Because I'm a metalhead too. Like, I have a metal background too. I used to be in a metal band. And that was like where I really got into my, music, like, focused, playing guitar. I had a BC Rich Warlock, and I was in a band and stuff. But it makes total sense now, because now I'm hearing your melodies and stuff and how it's different from everything else that's out. And it makes total sense because you come from the metal background.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I was just at my friend Ski's house the other day, and shout out to Ski. He was like, wanting to get out of like the funk box, or just playing funk on the bass. And I was like, yo, man, you got to listen to some metal. So I showed him some Black Sabbath, some old Ozzy. all that stuff. And like I think yeah, in metal is like keys, like it's all colliding together, you know, hip
Yeah,
hop. And when you mix those two, it really really makes a big difference. And
yeah,
I feel what you mean with, you know, learning and not learning the notes. I was the same way, you know, like they would try to teach me the notes, but I would just kind of memorize it, play it by ear. You know, the teacher got angry, but whatever, you know,
yeah.
we just got to make it, you know.
Mhm. These comments are
That's
cracking me up. But yeah, man, I hear you. I think the like coming from a different background, like the beats I make, like in the whole underground genre of rap, it doesn't even sound like what rap sounded like 10 years ago. So it is different in and of itself. But like, I think coming from a background of music where I just didn't listen to what I produce, like the music I produce, I never listened to. Like at least like rap or trap. Like I said, I was always into like metal and rock. So I don't know. I think I definitely agree with you in the sense that like um, just having that like different perspective and starting with a new genre could definitely create a different kind of sound. So yeah,
nice, nice. That's dope, man. And when did you start making beats again? How long
I
ago?
started making beats in like quarantine, so 2020.
Okay, nice. And you use Logic?
Logic, yeah. I don't tell too many people though because the big thing is FL and people like shit on me for using Logic because it's like the workflow. But honestly, like I get it. Like FL is like the DAW for beats, but I've been using Logic for so long. Like it's just what I use. Like I can do what I need to do with it. Bravo 1 2, thank you very much, man. But yeah, that's Logic is my main thing. So
Guys, I think it doesn't matter what gear you use as long as
yeah,
you're sufficient in it and you kind of flow with it. Like I use Ableton, and
yeah. Ableton's
I
great.
started.
On that too.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I started with GarageBand, then went to Logic, then went to Ableton and Machine, and now I'm getting into FL. But I think it's good. I think they all have their pros and cons, and you just gotta kind of work with whatever works for you, you know.
Right. Yeah. Most
And
definitely.
Logic's got like a really good engine. Like it
Yeah.
sounds really smooth. The sounds sound good.
It does.
And
Really
yeah,
good, like bang
what
for
do
your
you like
buck.
about Logic?
What do I like about Logic?
Yeah.
I like that. Well, my first ever DAW was GarageBand, and Logic is like an extension of it because it's both been made by Apple, like similar interface. It's just like paid GarageBand, so it was just like the logical next step. Logic, huh? Logical next step for me, to do. And so I don't know. I just gravitated towards it. It just seemed like the right thing, and I also loved how like it's a really good bang for your buck. Like $200, and you get like every update. You get all these sound libraries and these loops. It's a ton of really great resources for a pretty reasonable price when you got stuff like Pro Tools and FL can be pretty pricey too, unless you like crack it, of course. But yeah, I felt like it just made sense for me in the moment.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So who's your favorite metal band?
I like Periphery a lot. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh, I love Periphery. Yeah, my friend
Yeah,
showed me
yeah.
Periphery like 2011.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. I saw Periphery live back in 2019 in Boston, House of Blues.
Oh,
That shit
nice.
was great. It was them and Veil of Maya, and they were
Oh,
great.
I love Valamaya. I love
Yeah,
Valamaya. Yeah.
Veil of Maya and which is like more of like a math rock kind
Okay.
of thing. But they're on the same kind of umbrella. But it was really cool to see live, definitely.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, my friend showed me. Yeah, because I was in metal back in the day, like I don't know, like 2003, 2004. That was when I had my band, and I was super
Okay.
into like black metal, like Dimmu Borgir and
Oh yeah.
you
Okay.
know stuff like that, and
Awesome.
Slayer, Immortal. But like my friend, then I got kind of more into hip hop, and I got kind of bored of metal. But my friend showed me all these bands that you're talking about. I don't know, in like 2009 or something. Showed me
Yeah, it's
Born
like
of
a new
Osiris,
wave.
Veil of Maya. Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
resurrection of metal.
Yeah, it's like the metalcore, gent, deathcore wave. It's like the more polished sounding production and all that stuff. I love it. It's awesome. And black metal is really cool too. The story behind some of those bands, I'm talking about, are just nuts.
Oh yeah, yeah, Mayhem.
We won't talk about that, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. I think a lot of that metal stuff really, like Black Sabbath and Immortal and a lot of those black metal, they really dive into something really primordial. I feel like those European folk songs. They really
Yeah.
like Opeth. You just think of Lord of the Rings. You just think of wizards, which makes sense why you have wizards all over your beats because it roots
Yeah,
from that.
yeah.
You know.
Mhm. So it's funny, like so that's one way to like think about it is that it could have been like a metal inspiration, but the real story behind it is like much less interesting than that. It's like simply the fact that I'm like a Gen Z kid and I'm looking at all these memes and I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw this one meme of like a wizard like just standing and it was like type of shit I've been on. And I'm like, damn, like that shit's really funny. Like what if I just like took that and just ran with it? I don't know, just expand it. I feel like a big thing, especially on TikTok and with short form media and trying to get people's attention is like kind of like shock value or something that's weird. Like people will be like, what the hell is that? So posting like the slideshows and then expanding on to like making full on stories, I just felt like the more insanely in depth I got into it, the more people would be like, this dude's kind of nuts, but I like it. And that's just like, that's like my logic, you know?
Yeah.
What's good, everybody? Oh my God. What's good?
Thanks for joining. Yo, that's amazing because yeah, I was about to ask you about that too. Like, you literally pioneered a whole new, not only just sound, but you pioneered a whole like movement of like what people like resonate with and go with. Like, immediately when I saw it, I connected with it. Just because like I you feel like that, like the meme that you talked about. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah. Just
when
work
you're
with them.
into wizards, when you're into that stuff, you like
Yeah.
your mind is there all the time, but maybe
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
can't relate with it.
yeah. Totally, dude. I don't know. It's funny sometimes because I'd always hesitate like what I'd post because like it'd be weird being my like true authentic self because it'd be like, am I the only one who finds this funny? But there's people out there who are like who have that same kind of tweaked mindset that'll find stuff like that entertaining, and you just gotta like it's so cliche, but it's true. You just gotta like be yourself and just you know
Yeah.
that's it. What's good, Jen? But yeah.
Nice, man. What was it that helped you get over that hesitation or doubt? When that doubt came in, maybe like, oh, people are gonna think this is weird. Like, what made you like just fuck it, I'm gonna do it?
You know, I think the big thing for me was, you know what? I don't even think I had like a huge struggle with it. I for some reason, you know why? Because I started in quarantine and I was just isolated, and so I had like no social interaction. So I was like, I just kind of didn't have anything to lose and didn't care, and I was just doing it through quarantine to the point that I just wasn't even thinking about it. So I feel like usually if I did this kind of thing in a different period of my life where I wasn't isolated, I would be a lot more like self-conscious about what I post because I see like people every day and you know what I'm saying? But I was in quarantine in my house and I was like, you know what? Like I'm making beats. Why would I just not post them? So it was just a matter of just doing it. And I don't know. Overall, like I didn't get too much like when I was first starting out, not too much hate. So it was a lot of like really cool people just encouraging me, which I'm very grateful for. Just in the comments and stuff, which definitely helps out for all the smaller creators. So do that. If you see like somebody who makes good music, you support them. It goes a long way. But yeah, I didn't really have too much of a struggle with it, but it was definitely something I like just had in my head. So yeah.
Nice, that's dope, man. That like my thing is, yeah, like with the stuff I'm teaching with the metaphysics of creativity, I feel like that doubt is the main thing that holds all artists and producers back because there's always that moment like you get inspired, and I always tell people you got to act on it. It doesn't matter what's happening
Yeah,
because
that is
it's
really true. Acting
yeah.
on it is a big thing. I have a massive app like notes app folder where if I think of an idea, no matter how stupid, I will write it down. Like there are times where it'll be like I'm like in bed, like asleep, but I'm like half in between like my dreaming state and my awake state, and I'm just thinking of ideas, and I'll get up and write it down just because I know I'll forget it, and it makes things easier. So if I want to sit down and cook up like a story for my TikTok, I can just check my notes app and see what ideas I wrote down, and it's a big thing. So I definitely agree with you. Like acting on the ideas you have, like you know, it's definitely a big thing. Just taking action on it because the present moment is everything. So,
Exactly,
yeah,
you can't get this moment back, right? Like literally the energy in this moment, where the stars are, where the weather is, where you are in your life, you will never be exactly at this moment. So your art reflects that at the moment. So it will be most received, or it will do what it needs to do if you release it, even if it's just one person. It's like it was meant to, touch those people.
definitely agree.
And when you make your stuff, is it usually like, so when you started the memes and the music, did you always do it together? Like you'll make a beat and you'll always connect it with the wizard memes? Is that, or did
Well,
that
that
evolve
that
later?
was like a well, so the that was mainly a TikTok thing, but it actually didn't start out that way. For the people maybe who are watching, who the 12 people who have seen my when I first started posting that Ascend song, that one, I started posting like buildings, like foggy buildings, like on some like Batman type of stuff, and I posted like a slideshow of like five or so pictures, and I said target audience, and that was it. And then I was in class, and then I think it was September, this last September, as my first month of senior year in high school, and I just graduated. But I posted that video, and I came back, and it was going up crazy because at the time my biggest video on TikTok was like a couple hundred views, maybe 1,000. So I was like, oh my God, like this is it. So then I just started spamming like the buildings and stuff. And once the buildings, I was spamming it and then it died out. That's one thing. You can't do the same thing over and over again. So I did like the buildings and stuff and it died out. And then I remember it was a night and I saw that meme about the wizards and I'm like, what if I just made a slideshow with wizards? And then that also took off and I was like, all right, there we go. So it was really it just kind of is trial and error, to be honest.
Okay.
Like that's really what it is. And I don't know if there's a formula to it, but like I feel like I somewhat have a grasp. Like I can decently predict like what videos I post will do well and what won't. Like I just posted one today because I didn't have any slideshows ready, and it was like one I made in 2 seconds, and I knew that one was gonna flop. It was just something to get out. Like sometimes you just know. So yeah, it's just whether or not it's just gauging the content, and yeah.
Nice. And I I think from observing what you're doing, I think that's super important that some creators like get stuck with too. Like they'll make too many things and get too much in their head. Like, all right, I'm gonna drop this and then this is gonna happen. It's like you can
Yeah.
never really know how it's gonna react. You have to just release it and then you see if it flops or you see if it does good, right?
Totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can't judge the first like it sometimes things will be like a delayed like blow up. Like
Okay.
I've had plenty of videos and I've had like a couple songs I dropped that like flopped and didn't do nearly as good as my other ones and then months later they start picking up. I see people using the sound. And so it's just like just consistency. If you just keep putting yourself out there, like even your older stuff could take off and that'll do well for you. So it's just like you said, just put yourself out there.
Yeah,
That's it.
and you kept staying consistent throughout. Some people like will just put it and then stop and get discouraged, and then your old stuff doesn't even have a chance because if you even just keep making the effort, like you said, you don't feel like it, you know it's gonna flop, but who cares? You just drop it anyway. It's like you're still getting in front of people and you're still connecting. Then you give your old stuff a chance by continuing to go. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Even those, if it's 10 extra views, that's better than zero. So, like, it's just anything will do, you know?
That's a good point. Staying grateful for every view. Like there's a
Yeah.
human being behind every view.
That,
So
oh my God.
you know.
It's so crazy, especially in this day and age. Like seeing the numbers, like, it's insane to think that that each, I mean, there's a couple bots, of course, but like pretty much every single number is a like a person who took the time to watch or scroll past that video. So, it's weird. Like, I don't even know if that's like healthy for the human mind to conceive at this point because we're like animals at the end of the day. But shit, it's pretty crazy, you know?
Wow.
So,
What
yeah.
what has it been like? Yeah, just like blowing up and having so much success. Maybe what are the challenges at this point, and what do you want to stay focused on? And like, yeah, what do you want to keep doing going forward? You know.
My real goal is I really enjoy this. I really enjoy like the content and the music and the people and just like making art for people. Like I really do enjoy it. And so my goal is to just continue it and like keep my like fan base going and just building, just keep going up. Like I don't want to lose my momentum because I feel like I somehow am put in a position that's like really rare. Like one of my videos just happened to blow up and it just carried me like of course I put in work for it, but really like a lot of it's luck. There are tons of hardworking, talented people who will like do everything like the right steps and won't get anywhere. So I put in the work, I did the right steps, but I also got extremely lucky. So I just my goals are just to like stay grateful and keep it going, especially in college. Like I want to find time to work on my studies and then work on my music and my content because if you stop like it's hard to pick up when you already have it going. Like it'd be harder to start from zero than if I already have some sort of momentum, some motion. What's good, Colts? So yeah, um, those are some of my goals, I guess, just to keep it going.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's super. That's an important point. Keep the momentum as you have it. Like once you have momentum, even if it's no matter how much it is, like never stop, because it's
Yeah,
so much harder to rebuild.
every
You know.
single day. You got to invest in yourself. You just got to you just have to. If you really want to make it happen, you just have to like just do every single day. Like you just have to.
Yeah.
It's just the only way, man. Like I don't know, unless you're like a freak of nature or something, but that's not everybody.
Exactly.
That's not me. So, yeah.
Daniel, I want to ask you. Maybe people's asked you this before, but yo, how did you create that 808 sound, the signature Mimo 808?
So I want to give credits because it's not my 808.
Okay,
People are
okay.
like, it's the Mimo 808 because I guess I popularized it by using it in Ascend and a lot of my other beats, but I want to give credit to Problem, PRBLM. That's his name. He's the producer who made the 808. He deserves all the credit for that. There was a whole thing of people like claiming they made it and then people thinking I claimed it, which I never did. People gave that name to the 808. I never claimed it was my 808, but I just happened to use it and I guess I've known for it, but really it's Problem's 808 and shout out to him. I just want to get that out of there. He really did. I wouldn't have been able to do what I do without that 808. So shout out to him. But that 808, I just found in a drum kit, like any other drum kit, and it just sounded like really weird and cool. And I was like, man, fuck it. I'm just gonna use this. Like sometimes using weird sounds will do good, and that's exactly what happened. Um, and so then I just started seeing all the tight beats and people using the 808, and I can understand how it got misconstrued to be like my 808 when it's not. So, but yeah, just to clear that up, it's problems. But yeah, that's kind of how that 808 did its thing throughout the producer community, I guess.
Okay, now I'll have to hit a problem and ask him.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out
Get
to him.
one.
He's cool. I
Awesome.
I remember something came up. There are like a bunch of like these like underground music meme pages like Bug Too Sick and Slay World Albania. They post like these stupid like they're hilarious, I think, like memes and stuff, and I always find them funny. And then I guess some sort of like misunderstanding came up with problem where like people were thought I stole the 808 and were claiming it's mine when I never did, and there was a whole thing that I had to clear up, so that like kind of scared me a little bit, but everything's good now. But yeah, I just remember that. But yeah.
Nice, man. Well, that was dope for like part of being a good producer is really, I mean, a lot of being a good producer is being able to choose good sounds. I always tell people like a quote from Havoc from Mobb Deep back in the days, like the drums ain't tight, the beat ain't right. So it's like you got to be able to choose the sounds and have the subtlety, the palette to be able to tell like, all right, this is a quality, like your foundational materials need to be gold, you know?
That's right. Yeah, no, definitely. It's and that big beat Ascend, which is like the song that did the best for me. It was just four sounds. It was the 808, like a rim shot and a hi-hat, and then I had a sample that was sent to me from a producer friend, Eli, and Hars. They both made that sample, and I chopped it up and put those three drum sounds over it, and then it did its thing. So that's just to go to show you, or that goes to show that like it really doesn't take much to make something that'll catch on. Like really, simplicity is always key. I've found, and even to this day, I still like overthink stuff, and I'm working on it, but it's been proven, so
Yeah.
it works.
And what was the process like when you made Ascend? Like, what was the day like metaphysically? Maybe like what was your emotions
Yeah.
like?
Okay.
How long did it take to make? Just bring us through that story.
Yeah. So it was a night. It was a nighttime. It was probably like a no. It was fall, and it was in Boston where I live. So stuff's starting to get dark, and it gets dark early. And I was in my room, which is where I usually make beats on this laptop that I'm propping my phone up. I'd make beats on here, and it was just another day, and um, yeah, I was just like, I found this like loop from these two producer friends they sent to me, and I pulled it into my Logic, and I chopped it up, and it just sounded like really cool. So I was like, you know what? Just add drums to it, which is like what I always do. So I had like this. What I did, which is I think the way the beat came out, is I used one drum kit for all my sounds. Like sometimes I'll go to one drum kit and like use only sounds from that drum kit just for fun. And at the time it was the Clever drum kit, which had the Problems 808 in it, which is why that came up. So I used a rim from there, a hi-hat, the 808, and the 808 just like hit in a way that I knew that this beat, I think it could really go viral. Like I had a feeling, I really did at the time, because I just like it had that vibe that it could, you know, be used for like edits and slides and P- I'm just cracking up at the comments right now. People always think I'm the guy in my profile picture, but I'm not. That's Rich Brian. But yeah, no, I also rinsed the fuck out of that kit, or that 808. But yeah. So like the energy, I was just really just doing what I usually do. I was just trying to just make something simple. It took me like 10 minutes and like four sounds, and I just knew it was the right beat. And that's not common for me. Like I'm kind of an overthinker, so sometimes I'll take like an hour for a beat that's really simple, just because I'm like that sometimes, even though I shouldn't be. So this one was really weird. Like I just did it pretty quickly, and I just kind of felt it throughout. And like I think a day after, a week after, that was when I first posted it on my TikTok. So I don't know, it just kind of all fell into place really well. It just I don't know, like it just worked, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And that's like what I teach my students as well, is like you got to work fast. Speed is one of the most important things, because that door of creativity is only going to be open for a certain amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you got to harness and kind of capture everything, because speed makes you not think about it, and it makes it come through just purely. The energy is just channeled through you, you know? So you don't have time to overthink it, you don't have time to doubt it,
Yeah.
and it's just all feeling. So it's just like,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
something else that helps me from time to time, but like you can't abuse it. Like I know a big theme in my content is like like I'm not gonna say it, but like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so from time to time, like it can definitely help with creativity, and that's something that I think was a factor for Ascend. And that's not to say that you need anything externally to help you create. But everything things in moderation can definitely like help you if you don't abuse them. You use it as a tool and respect it, and you're in that mode. It can definitely be of use, you know. And so these guys are cracking up. But yeah, like I don't know what the rules are here, but you guys see
No,
my
that's
content.
fine.
You know what I'm
You
talking
can talk
about.
about whatever. We're
Yeah,
not
and
for kids
so
podcast.
like
Yeah.
like what people think, like because of my content, people think I'm like the biggest stoner in the world, because like that's kind of like what I post about. But you'd really be surprised. I'm not gonna go into depth about it, but like it's really just for like the target audience and stuff. But that's all I'll talk about for that.
Yo, that's
Um,
awesome. And even in the beginning, when you shared how you first posted the buildings and you wrote target audience, like
yeah,
you already made a cause. Like, all right, I'm
yeah,
aiming towards there. Like you're aiming your
yeah,
mind there. You're
yeah,
casting the spell
yeah,
as the wizard. So you already
mhm,
did it, and then, pff, you keep messing
yeah,
around with the chemicals, and you got the new thing, and
right, yeah,
put it up.
that's right, man. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, man. No, I think I definitely agree with you. Like, I think it's fine in moderation, and it's helpful at times. Like I agree with you. Like, you shouldn't have to rely on anything external, or else
yeah,
it'll be a crutch. But it
yeah,
definitely helps me sometimes.
of
Is like
course,
I'm overthinking or stressed out or something.
yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course, of
let me just
course,
load it up.
totally. Yeah, I definitely think of it as a tool at the end of the day that deserves respect and But yeah, I
Exactly.
like how we talked about that without really mentioning it, but the people know.
Yeah, everyone knows what we're
Yeah,
talking
the
about.
people know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But,
Nice, man. And what got you into like wizards and stuff? And what's your favorite like wizard of all time?
oof. You know what's crazy? I never read any Harry Potter books. I never read any Lord of the Rings. I just I really have no connection to wizards besides the memes. Like that's really it. I just think they're so cool, and what I like about them in terms of producing is like they're always cooking up potions and stuff, and it's like a cool little funny like parallel, you know? Like the producers who watch my stuff can be like, "Damn, like I'm really a wizard out here cooking up beats." And that's
Yeah.
how I feel, you
Yeah.
know? So it's all about mindset, you know? If you're ever bored at school, like researching and stuff, just like picture yourself in like your wizardly abode, casting spells and stuff. You just gotta be in the mindset. So yeah,
Nice,
they know
man.
I'm lying, but yeah, no, the wizards is really just a by chance thing. To be honest, I just found the meme and I just took it and made it my whole like aesthetic, and it really was no more than that. So, but I really love the Hobbit movies though, like the animated one. I
Okay,
posted
yeah.
a lot of that because I just thought that cartoons would be funny, and I found that there was a Hobbit cartoon, and I watched it, and I'm like, this is hilarious, this is perfect, and so
Yeah.
that's why I posted a lot of clips of those a couple months back. But yeah,
Nice. Have you watched the Lord of the Rings cartoon?
I've no, but I've seen like clips of it because I had to grab some for my
Yeah,
content as well. So
yeah,
I know like a decent amount, but they're hilarious. I know with the Lord of the Rings, they did a lot of like this thing called rotoscoping where they like track people's movements and they animate over it so it looks like super fluid and
yeah,
kind of like uncanny, but it's cool.
yeah. They did. Yeah, they did like an innovative technique. My friend was telling me on those in like the '70s, but no, those are dope, man. And that's like it's dope that that's your introduction into Wizards. It just shows like the new way people
Yeah.
are getting into the different. Because before it was books, for me it was like the Lord of the Rings movies, and now it's for memes. So that's dope. Any way you can get into it, I think you'll really. I never have read the whole books, but I'm reading the Lord of the Rings books now, and it's just dope to go into it and unplug before bed, and just like go into that mindset even more, and just kind of
Awesome.
immerse yourself.
Yeah, it's great. It's all great, all that fantasy stuff. Like, I really think it's honestly, I should read those books and watch those movies because I really enjoy like genuinely making those funny little stories. Like, I put like, people would be surprised how much effort like, and time I put into those and how much I really enjoy it. So yeah, I guess I gotta like start, reading the blueprints, man, like where all that stuff comes from, you know?
Yeah, check
So
out that. I think it's really going to add to just your whole brand and your whole story, and you're just going to channel even more energy because you're already channeling the wizard energy just based on choosing the images and stuff because everything's energy, you know.
right, of course.
Um, yeah, man. No, I think that's dope.
Hey, thank you very much. Yeah.
No problem, man. What was I going to ask? Yeah, no, like who's your favorite like producer, like rap producer or like
Ooh.
rapper?
Producer in the rap game right now. Ooh, that's a really tough one, man. I like Clayco a lot. He produces for Destroy Lonely, and he like I definitely like I'd say that the beats I make are the ones that I'm known for, like have a similar sound to him in terms of like the sampling. Like he'll sample a lot of stuff, and then he'll have like this like really like simple like in terms of how many sounds he uses, but the bounce is like kind of complicated. Like he does like it's a really cool bounce, and the way he makes music with Destroy Lonely, like their chemistry is great. So I like his sound, and of course Benny X, who works with Yeet. Like, I think he's just been on a roll this year. It's insane. So he's an inspiration for sure. But there's so many great like producers out there that like I honestly I couldn't even name it. But yeah, I guess those are a few of my favorite. And Cody, CXDY Cody. He's really great, and he like he did me a solid. He and I have made some cool music together. So shout out to him for working with the smaller producers. He's really like for the people. That guy like he's like industry working with all the big artists, but he'll work with like smaller producers and help them out. So he's a really good dude and a really good producer. So I'd say Cody at the moment.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. I'll have to check them out because I really dig your sound, and I'm always looking for new stuff, but a lot of sometimes a lot of stuff sounds the same. So like whenever I hear someone new who's doing something dope, it's like a really refreshing. So it's like we need people like you making the innovative bangers, making stuff unique and different so that we can, you know, keep going. I think that's how the whole art and music goes. It's like everyone just inspires each other.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's like it's funny because one of the producers I mentioned, Clayco, the guy for Destroy Lonely, I got a lot of comparisons when I first started posting that I was like a Clayco clone. But
Okay.
the real truth is, I just didn't listen to Destroy Lonely that much when I first started making these kinds of beats. Like, it's really just sometimes things just fall into a place in a certain way. They just sound similar. And then as I hear the comparisons, then I'll listen. I'll be like, I see it. And then take inspiration after the fact. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's, you know, it's cool. I really think that a big flaw with the current like rap scene, at least the underground, is like the deal with like inspiration and stealing, because I'm seeing so many people, and I'm not going to name names or name genres, but generally just get all mad when people like do a similar sound to someone else, when it's not blatantly copying, just like doing a similar sound and be like, you're stealing my swag, you're stealing my flow. That's how music is made. Like great artists steal. That's just simply how it is. And
Picasso.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Picasso. I mean, he's dude's the guy. Like you got to listen to him. But there would be no anything without stealing and taking and inspiring and making your own. Like that's just how it is. So I think the whole like stigma of being against inspiration in this scene is like it's so rigid. I've noticed. So I think that people really need to go back to the roots and understand like everything comes from something. It just is just it's just a cycle. So yeah, I just want to put
Exactly.
that out.
And I think there's a difference between stealing and sampling. It's like stealing maybe is like you made a beat, someone takes your beat, says it's theirs. Like that's, I don't think that's okay. But like
No,
if
totally, totally.
sampling or being inspired using the same tempo, the same structure, the same
Right.
sounds, that's totally fine because that's just, that's how we push each other forward. It's like you hear something nice and new. Like immediately heard yours and I went and did like a light language freestyle, like a freestyle with no words on a
Oh, I
sentence.
love that. That's awesome, dude.
I didn't drop it yet, but I'll send it to you.
Hell yeah, that's
Um,
great.
and then I joined your Discord and I found the 808 and I started making some stuff, and it was like it was super dope, and it was like like you invigorated me to go and make stuff. So I
That's
think
great, man. I'm really glad to hear.
yeah,
Yeah,
man,
like this guy said, creating samples from scratch. That's just as cool. Like, but even when you're creating samples from scratch, like I'm sure like the inspiration that you're thinking of when you make these samples, they come from somewhere. Like you've heard, it's with everything, not just music. Like no matter what you do, it's just a culmination of all the experiences you've had and just your interpretation into something original, which is like how it should be. So, yeah,
exactly. Everything comes from something, and you gotta just
yeah,
that's just how it is.
yeah. Most definitely.
For sure, man. And we can wrap up here in a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, like, yeah, what are you working on? What are you working on now? What should the people look for?
Yeah.
What are you excited for coming up
Well,
new?
I just dropped a song at midnight last night. So like today, it's called Exploration.mp3. Surprise, surprise, another one of those. But I dropped it today. Everyone who's seeing this should stream it. It's like a new song I got going on, and I'm just trying to evolve the sound and just really my goal right now is to just keep pushing the music and making like really good, engaging content that people like enjoy. Like, because I'm seeing people are like, these make my day. I love these videos. Like, they really do. Like, people really like them, and I really love that. That people enjoy my content. So I just want to keep providing for the people and also doing what's true to me and what I want to make. So just keeping a balance for what they want, what I want, and expecting just there's gonna be new music soon, hopefully more often, and new stories soon, new like fairy tales and shit. I'm gonna do all that. So I got that on the bag, working on it all.
Yeah, everyone follow Mimo on Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. Lots of bangers. Yeah. One other thing I just remembered, I want to ask you, like, how many times did you post Ascend? Because some people are like, they post stuff and they don't post it enough, but I noticed you posted a lot, and but you always have a different story, so it's always interesting, and it's a timeless beat, so you never get sick of it. Like, how many times did you post it, and did you ever feel like, oh shit, I'm posting it too much?
So funny. I used to when I first started doing the TikTok and my first video blew up, I was like so shocked that I started posting whenever I could. Like upwards of like 20 to 10 videos a day. Like I'm not even joking. I'd find random pictures and just fire them out whenever I could because I was like, "Oh my, like holy shit, this video blew up. I need to run with this." So, I would just post so much, and that's what you got to do. Nowadays, I post like once a day, like once or twice a day max, because I feel like the more I do, people don't really like it. But when I was first starting out, when you're smaller, like just fire it out. You have nothing to lose. Like just fire out as many as possible. Like I probably posted like over 100 videos with Ascend, if I had to guess. Like that's just how I do it. I pick one beat I like, and then I just keep doing it with a different content, so it's fresh when what people look at. But the ears, that's the same thing. So we'll hear this song over and over again, but get fresh new content with it. So I don't know, it just balances out. But yeah, you just got to push yourself heavily.
And that's interesting because, like posting the same thing, but you have a different story. So that's like always like, it's keeping it's like familiar, but new. So it's like if people feel safe, so they're going to stay and look at it.
The visual component is always something different, but the audio remains the same for a period of time until I move on to the next beat and I do the same thing. But we'll switch things up soon enough. Things change. So
I
yeah,
think you're doing perfect. I think it's going great. I think especially with TikTok, I mean, all social media, honestly, like people instinctually need to trust it. What I realize is like if I do too many different styles, I don't do good. I've got to do like just limit it to two or even one style on my TikTok for people to trust and be able to, follow me and, engage with what I'm doing. Because, people's attention span is so short because there's so many areas that their attention could go. So you got to be able to lock that in right away. It's such an important point to master.
most definitely. I totally agree, man.
Yeah, man. Nice. Well, yeah, man. Maybe one more thing is, I don't know, like what, I think we already touched on it, but like, yeah, like your biggest bangers, like metaphysically, what have you realized, like energetically,
Yeah,
what type of space you need to be in to make
yeah,
the
yeah.
best tracks? You know, how do you make a banger? You know?
Yeah, so I think my three like biggest songs, or the ones that stuck the most on social media, is Ascend. That one did really good, and then I have another one called Parallels, which is like the one that is doing well on Instagram, like with all like the lifting people, and then I have one that's called Whimsical, and that was when I was posting all the Lord of the Rings stuff. So the three things in common with all those beats is that there was there was no overthinking really, and it just fell into place. Like it just felt right. Like I just kind of like 808 clap thing, this after this. I didn't really go back. I just kind of went through the process and did it. It really was limited overthinking and simplicity. And you can make some limited overthinking, some simplistic stuff, and it can be shit. Like I have to make that all the time, but sometimes it's really good. And I feel like for me, like I know when it's good and I know when it's shit. And so I think it's just a matter of just creating and not overthinking. Like it's such common advice that you like hear on social media amongst a lot of producers, but it's really true. So yeah,
Nice, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Overthinking destroys creativity, so you got to
It
just do
does.
it.
It does.
You know.
I'm still a victim, man. Like
Me
to this
too.
day.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean
Me too.
everyone is. I'm sure
It,
the
ne-
greats
it,
are.
ne-
People
it
who
never
finish it
ends.
are.
It's like a battle you need to keep waging. You know,
Yeah,
like you can never let up on that, and you always need to check yourself when you overthink.
that's right. That's right.
So, but we're winning against it. You know, it's just like getting the tools
Hmm.
to battle against it. Get your wand ready. Get all the master.
Yeah,
You know,
you
read
already
the
know.
books, study. You
You
know,
already
go
know.
and go and do it. And the most important thing you're doing is you're doing it, getting feedback, and you're doing it in the moment. That's why you're making bangers and you're trusting. So,
That's
you know,
right.
you're there and you're gonna keep going up. So keep trusting, keep doing what you're doing, man. I think you're doing great.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Really. And you
Yeah.
too. You got something great going on with the metaphysics and everything. I think it's awesome. So keep like doing your interviews and your content. It's great. So of
Thank you, bro.
course,
Appreciate it, man.
of course, truly. So,
Cool, man. So yeah, everyone go check out Mimo, Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit.
in bio,
Um,
you know.
TikTok, you know, go to his bio, follow him, and you know, stay tuned. You know, only bangers lifestyle. We only make bangers. We set our mind
Simple.
and we do it. That's how we do it. That's the most important thing.
Simple. Mhm. All right, man.
All right, thank you, bro. Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well, man. You have a good rest of your day. Thank you for doing this.
No problem, man. Thank you for everyone else joining. This will be on Spotify and podcasts. You know, in like I don't know, a week or two.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
all right.
Later,
Peace. Have a good
everybody.
one.
All right. Bye.